Welcome back, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I know we've been a little bit, I think we missed the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
The first week you weren't able to make it. Last week I wasn't able to make it. A little bit under the weather. But Baruch Hashem, thank God we're back at it. And let's jump right into it. What I wanted to discuss right off the bat, just because I'm curious, I was discussing with Sheldon a little bit prior. He already has that smirk on his face because he's just waiting to tell me. I don't know what it is, but I brought up to him the boxing match last night, the Jake Paul Tommy Fury fight, which was a highly anticipated match, and Tommy Fury won, which I guess is really good for him because it really seemed like his family was ready to, especially his brother, was ready to disown him if he lost. Like, he literally said he would not be worthy to have the Fury name if he loses this match against someone who's not really a boxer, although Jake Paul obviously is more of a boxer than the average person. But apparently Logan said something, which I'm curious as to what that is.
So I just wanted to pull up so I got the exact words that he wrote. But he posted, I think it was a few hours before the fight, he wrote, "I'd bet my equity in Prime," which is his drink, "that Jake Paul beats Tommy Fury tonight." So now everybody's all over him, like, "Oh, are you going to stand by your word?" All this stuff, because he said he's going to bet his equity from his company on it. Obviously,
no one's doing that, right?
In reality, he's not doing it. But
I wouldn't be shocked if he secretly bet a ton of money on Tommy Fury.
Oh, no, totally. I feel like if it's anything just to really get get the publicity and the attention, he always, does, everyone in the family does, they've always been doing.
But also,
years.
Tommy Fury, I don't know how much you know about boxing. Tommy Fury is a real boxer. He's a trained boxer. He's been boxing for years. This is probably the biggest stage he's ever been on easily, but he's still a boxer. Jake Paul's been fighting only for a few years, and he's been fighting retired MMA fighters, not
but he also,
trained boxers.
But he has the resources and the money from all of his YouTube and Team 10 or whatever.
Right, no, 100%. I definitely think that's why he's definitely way more skilled than a regular person. Obviously, when you have that kind of money, you can get the trainers and the equipment and the people necessary to get you there. But this was the first time he was in a class with someone that was his own age, around the same height, around the same weight, and it was a test. He thought he should have won, but it was a really close score. It was a really close score.
Was that? I didn't watch the actual fight.
It was a couple points, I think. It was a really close score.
What did it stream on?
In America, it was on ESPN Plus. I think the UFC is exclusively on ESPN. It was in Saudi Arabia, I think.
It was in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I should have just flown on down there from here.
Yeah, that's why the fight was at 5 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern time.
What time is it in Saudi Arabia?
I have no idea. I'm assuming they're 7 hours ahead. I'm assuming they're on the same time frame as Israel. I wouldn't know. I'm just making it up. Though.
I don't even know, and they're right near us, so I don't know. But I could have gone to the fight. I don't know. You could have flew in with me.
It's just crazy because it's at the end of the day, they're just making an absurd amount of money from the pay-per-view
beyond
and the sponsors, and it's got to be nuts. You win, lose. The same thing with Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. Win, lose. They're both walking away with a ton of money.
And so is the production company and everyone behind it. It's crazy how much money these things bring in. I don't even think the average person understands the amount of money.
I think Floyd Mayweather boxing, I think, is one of the highest paying sports. Floyd Mayweather made $200 million off his fight with Manny Pacquiao, one night.
$200 million, jeez. But there's a lot of money put into these shows as well. So as much as these shows are raking in, they're putting a lot of money into the production because they have to. Because you have to make it worth it and stuff. There's
been a lot of discussion recently. I mean, there still is a lot of discussion over the last couple of years about fighter pay and that whole thing. And Dana White is very much of the opinion of if you don't like it, go work somewhere else. And a lot of people say it's if you bring in a lot of viewers, if you bring in a lot of people, then you'll get paid a lot of money. That's why the loud and rambunctious fighters like Conor McGregor or Nate Diaz, who have such a distinct, unique personality and presence, they'll bring in a ton of money. Right. Conor McGregor said, Conor McGregor, he was trash talking on stage once. He said to one of the guys, he said, he said, if you were in the ring with me, he said you guys would have hit the jackpot. You'd be running home to your wife, honey, I did it. I got in the ring with Conor because you're making a ton of money, win or lose. And I think in that fight, in the McGregor Mayweather fight, or either that fight or it might have been the Mayweather Pacquiao fight, I think it was Mayweather Pacquiao. They were each making like, for every second they were in the ring in the 12th round, they were each making like 150 grand a second or something crazy. Like it's just
150 grand a second.
If I was making 150 grand a second, I would.
If I was making 150 grand a year, I'd be like, oh my God, hello. 150 grand a second? I think I would just be frozen in shock and like not even knowing what to do, like shaking, like, oh my God, what the hell? Right to the plastic surgeon.
Right. Well, no, I feel like once you have that, once you have it, you keep then it doesn't feel like a lot, and then you want more, and that's how the money pulls you in. Right.
Totally.
Was that a Queen reference, or was that a different I Want It All?
That was a High School Musical reference.
Okay.
High School Musical.
No.
Trace. I had to think about the
High School Musical Trace. I don't even recall High School Musicals.
You don't even recall High School Musical?
I recall the first one. I don't recall anything of the second one. Oh, I remember the first one 100%.
What are you, Amber Heard? You don't recall?
I'm sorry, I don't recall. No, I don't
recall. I don't recall, but my dog stepped on a bee.
No, I remember the first one. I don't remember the rest of them. The other two, I guess. But speaking of that, of films, I was speaking to someone recently. They mentioned something I wanted to talk about. Also, we were talking about before. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I was a huge Harry Potter fan as a kid.
We used to play it on your PS2.
We used to play it on my PlayStation 2. That game, like, that felt so crazy. And if you look at the graphics,
were insane. Right. No, but that day it was like, oh my God, because we had the PlayStation 1. Then when you got the PS2, it was like next level. Like, oh my God. It's like reality.
Right. And the characters literally looked like Flat Stanley. They just had like a faded image pasted on their face.
Totally. Like it's like Pro Engine 5 or something. It's like looking back, it's like, what is this?
And so I didn't actually read the books until I think COVID came. That's when I really started reading. I was never a big reader. I think I only read one book throughout my entire school career, if you can call it that.
Was it a school assigned book, or you just happened to have read it while you?
It was a school assigned book, but it was like 90 pages or 120 pages. It was called The Crucible. It's a play.
Hold on. Hi. I was in the Crucible. Did we talk about this before? I think we might have brought it up. When I was in Bar Ilan, I played Thomas Putnam.
Right.
Whatever. So yeah, I do know that. I knew all my lines and everything.
Right. That was the one book I read, but they just released Portkey Games just released a video game a few weeks ago or a month ago, Hogwarts Legacy, which takes place in the time frame before all the events of Harry Potter. So like long before. So like the headmaster, his last name is Black. I think he's Sirius Black's like great grandfather type. But
so it's like really before.
Yeah, like the headmistress is a Weasley. I'm assuming it's Ron's like great grandmother or something like that. You're friends with a Gareth Weasley, but it's just incredible how the graphics look and the detail in literally everything, from the sounds, the animals. What's crazy is one of the things they put in the game is I don't want to spoil it, but don't listen if you don't want to get spoiled. But at a certain point in the game. At a certain point of the game, they put you into the room of requirement, which gives you whatever it is you need. It becomes kind of like a home base where you can brew potions or grow plants or whatever it is. But you also have vivariums where you store your magical beasts, because all over the world you can capture different magical beasts. You could store them, you could breed them, and you could build out these vivariums. You can basically collect things all around the world, and you could build like your own world in these massive
It sounds almost
spaces.
like Crypto Zoo.
It's literally like it's almost like you build your own home for your animals, but there's so much detail put in. And I remember watching an interview with Elon Musk, and he was saying, if technology is any telltale sign of what's going to be in the future, in like 50 years, video games will be indistinguishable from reality. It'll be like that movie Surrogate with Bruce Willis, where you just control a body. And it's almost like it's a real experience, which is crazy.
We're living in crazy times. Like everything that's been coming out lately. Like I'm talking to Dad yesterday. He's like, did you ever hear of this thing like Chat EBP or something?
Chat EBP.
I'm like, Chat GPT? Yeah. You've heard of it? Dude, I literally work in a high-tech company. Yeah, I've heard of it. We use it all the time. But like, you know, with ChatGPT, and you know, obviously it's not perfect and all this stuff. So there's people who are like, oh my God, it's incredible. And there's people who are like, oh, it's not perfect. Like, it's still working a lot, but it's a real telltale sign of where we've come to so far and how much potential there is. And it's concerning. Like every time, like I'll like ask the question just for like fun and stuff. I like will turn to one of my coworkers, Lauren, like she's our senior content writer. And I'm like, yeah, we're being replaced. Like literally, like none of us are going to have jobs. Like it's crazy, this stuff. Like obviously, like I've tried to like, you know, have it do social media captions before, and you see like it's still very computery. You can tell when it is written, you know, computer. But I think for grabbing quick research, or like, you know, I do a lot of like research and like a lot of these like big like PDFs, like white papers, like we call them and stuff. So I have to read a lot of the research. So like I'll be like, can you summarize this like, you know, chapter for me, or like can you find it in this book where I could find, you know, blah 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 blah, and tells me. So it's like it saves me time on like that kind of stuff, which is like really useful. Right. But you know, and then there's kids, like I feel like if I was a kid, like forget plagiarism, you just be like paraphrase this shit, and it's like, okay, there's my report, bitch. Like. So, like, but, like, there is something that is distinguishable. There's a software that's coming out that supposedly can detect when it's written solely by AI. But even so, you could take the gist of it and just reword some things. And it's like, it's changing the world. Are you playing drums?
It makes me a little... I have a drumstick in my hand because I'm
like hearing you tapping.
It's on my wrist, sorry. It gets me a little bit nervous. Speaking of Elon Musk, because I just brought him up, I remember I was watching him in an interview, and he said he spoke to Obama. He met with Obama to speak about, literally just to speak about the dangers of AI. And he said, I feel like he understood what I was saying. He said, but I had a meeting with Congress. He said, I went to a dinner with all 50 governors of the United States just to speak about the dangers of AI. And he's like, I feel like no one really was paying attention. And I feel more along the lines of, it's beyond just like things like that. It could, if you're an employee somewhere, like someone did something, someone wrote something along the lines of they were an employee working for Elon Musk at Twitter or something, and basically asked ChatGPT to write a code for work that they had to do at their company. And it's able to just write computer code for basic software. And there's going to come a time fairly soon that a lot of things like that, humans are going to become obsolete if we could just have a computer that has infinite knowledge at its fingertips that could generate software code or programmable code for anything, you know, for literally anything, for websites, games, apps.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're always still going to have the back-end engineers who are, you know, constantly teaching it and, like, having it, you know, advance and stuff, unless it starts teaching itself. But I feel like that's when it gets out of control. But, like, the thing with AI is, like, you know, people are, like, immediately to, like, you know, it's going to kill all of us and everything. But the problem is I feel like, you know, as many things as provided us for, like, the good, like, for people who want to use it for the bad, like terrorists or, like, anything like that, if they could, you know, use this technology for, you know, really horrible
weapons
things,
yeah,
we're kind of screwed. Like it's a huge like thing. Like it used to be like I remember like, you know, when they were able to, you know, the fact that we could like have like a remote controlled kind of like gun in like war, that was a crazy thing. Now it's like you can have drones, you can have this, you can have that. Like there's so many options. It's insane. So like, you know, for all the good there is, there's always a backwards end. We're still having issues in America with all these school shootings. Like technology like this is only going to make like things crazier and worse and everything. And it's like, you know, it's really frightening. We're
and then another
scary times.
Another story I didn't want to forget, because you sent something about it, and then a friend of mine just before we started sent me something about the story that came out about how the coronavirus may have actually leaked from the lab in Wuhan.
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 You want a taco in Wuhan?
It's like saying Iraq or Iran. It's Iraq and Iran.
Literally. And I have a coworker named Iran.
But
bitch.
But apparently, someone said something to me, and when I heard that initially, someone wrote like pretty wild. I'm thinking to myself, did you think that it didn't come from the lab? It's literally the Wuhan novel respiratory coronavirus lab.
The Wuhan?
Like it. Wuhan. The Wuhan novel respiratory coronavirus lab.
I just love when I hear the word novel because I immediately just think of book.
Exactly. That's also what Jon Stewart said when he was on when he was with Stephen Colbert, and he said, and at that point people were trying to put that theory down as being ridiculous.
Totally. My therapist was like, it's a conspiracy theory, blah blah. Right. And I'm like, I'm not into conspiracy theories. I was like, but it's just really sketchy. And like, if you look at like the facts, like they were building emergency. I know with my hands, jazz hands. They were building like emergency hospitals before like they released that information of what was going on. Like they wouldn't let us inside for investigations. They were really shady about things. Like,
right.
You know, it was just really sketchy. But at the same time, what the heck happened to it? Because I knew a few people, some of them we were related to, whatever, who weren't getting vaccinated and everything. And I'm like, are you crazy? I'm like, and you're never going to be able to fly. Like, the airlines aren't going to let you fly. It's like, sure, you don't have to get vaccinated, but they're not going to let you fly again. And it's like everything just backpedaled. Like, you could fly here, there, and everywhere. I literally, when I was in New York last time, I had the flu really, really bad. And I was in a house, and our niece had corona. And I had a flight back to Israel, and I literally called them, and I had to pay a change ticket fee, even though I was sick and got tested positive for the flu and I was exposed to corona. So I was like, so I could go to the airport tonight and board that flight internationally, mind you, not even like within America, back to another country, not get tested anywhere. And that's okay. Right. But if I have to stay behind, then I have to pay for a ticket change and everything. And it's like, are you kidding?
Hold
like,
on. Did you call and tell them I'm sick, I want to do a ticket change, and then they were going to charge you a fee? Or did you just tell them that you wanted to do, I think I just lost power in the middle of the conversation.
You might have noticed that my wine changed. That's colors. There was a cut. It's not magic. And it didn't refill to a different color.
Right.
Akiva in New Jersey lost power.
Like, I did lose power.
Do they not understand we're literally in the middle of filming a podcast? Like, wait a second.
We were in the middle of having a discussion, and everything just went out.
On your end.
On my
end.
But it was still up, and I thought maybe there was going to be a connect. For some reason, I thought my computer would pick up, because it's connected to my phone. I thought it would pick up the hotspot from my phone maybe and continue recording. But I couldn't tell that it stopped because you were in like a stuck smiling face, like, eh.
And I was were you like, wait a minute, is that your Botox or?
Right. I was like, is he moving or is that?
Is this a regular conversation?
Right. It took me a few seconds to realize. Right. About 15 minutes, and I realized I was talking to myself. But
exactly.
Thank God the internet was restored.
When your power was down for about 15 minutes, I actually was literally talking to myself, because then it was just me in this podcast room, and I'm like, well, hello.
We should post that maybe as like our intro or outro.
And I'm like, I literally said, I'm like, yeah, if any of this gets leaked, like, I'm done. Like, goodbye, everything.
Sheldon T monologue, please. I don't even know where we left off. We were in the middle of discussing something. I was in the middle of saying something, and then the lights cut off. You don't recall what we were talking about.
Stop it. I'm ADHD, so it's really not fair to put that onto me. And plus, as I already mentioned, my red wine turned white, so I'm not sure
ADHD has anything to do with memory, does it?
Yes, it does, because I can't, like, I'll be talking, and then my mind is jumping so 100%. It's, well, first of all, in terms of my memory, like
that's the first thing that pops up when you type in does ADHD it fills it with affect memory. It's been associated with large magnitude impairments in working memory. Whereas
that makes it sound so much worse.
Whereas short-term memory deficits, when detected, tend to be less pronounced.
Right. Well, my long-term memory is really, really, really good.
Forgetfulness tends to occur more often, according to Healthline.
Oh, well, if Healthline said it, then...
If Healthline says it, it is what it is. That's the thing. I feel like I find myself thinking a lot throughout the days, not like sitting there deep in thought. I find myself wondering... No, when I'm talking to people about news or reading something on the news, that's when I often find myself thinking, like, we can't really trust anything anymore. So how do I really know how to sift through what's accurate and what's not? And like, data is one thing. Not everything. Not every story is data. some stories I want to know about. I want to know what's going on, and I literally don't know who to trust because everyone's trying to fulfill their own agenda.
Like I felt like the one thing I always agreed with Donald Trump about the fake news. But the difference is what he meant by fake news is anything that goes against him.
Right. Everything besides Fox.
Right. Well, no, now they're bad. Everyone's horrible now. They're all horrible. Now your phones are ringing and stuff back in the background. It sounds like a 1-800 operator up in there.
I hear that.
First your power's out.
1-800 operator.
1-800-97 Jenny. That was Jenny Craig's commercial in 1997 because that's my long-term memory working at its finest.
That's 97. You were 5. How do you even remember that?
I have an insane memory. Just not about when I'm in the middle of a conversation. You ask me what I literally was just talking about. I can meet somebody and be like, oh, hey. Memory. Right. And what's your name again? And what we were talking about?
Right.
Yeah, no, also because my mind's racing at a million miles per hour. It's the same reason why I talk so fast. Like, even with this whole podcast thing, like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk slower. And, like, this is me attempting to talk slower. It's like, oh, God.
And like, I specifically also have to remind myself because I think I spoke about this. I have a stutter, obviously. It probably comes out every once in a willy. But it used to be
in a willy
way, way worse. And I couldn't. It's funny because a lot of what I do at work now is I'm on the phone most of the day. And when I was a kid, I was horrified of making phone calls to anyone because I was scared I would stutter. And that nervousness would just make you stutter more. But one of the key and best tools that I learned in my many years of speech therapy, which was super fun,
the funnest,
which I still utilize and is part of the same thing, is this speaking slow. Begin sentences slow, but also speaking slow. It's hard. It's hard when everything is so fast now also, but, we'll slowly but surely, you find a rhythm, you find a groove.
So I never stuttered, but I hated making phone calls. I still do. I have no interest. I just don't, I can't.
Right, and with the advent of texting and the advancement of texting and WhatsApp and the ease of communication.
Exactly.
It's just
and I say it's sad, but at the same time, it's like I really don't have time to be making small talk on the phone. Oh, here's my cat. Hello, Mrs. Tessa, and her tail in my face.
Oh my gosh.
There she is, little girly. As she plays
she's so big,
right? She was the size of my thumb when I got her. I didn't even know cats get that small. She was 1.5 old, and now she is a 1.5 years.
That's
and
wild.
She is pretty cray. Yeah,
already a year and a half when you got her.
Literally. Milo's 11 now. I had a closet built in my room. I got myself a real closet, which I'm so excited because I never get excited from things anymore as an adult. But I was so excited to finally do it.
I never experienced happiness in anything anymore.
No, for sure. No, but it's when you're a kid and so you get a 25-cent toy, it makes you happy. The last time I was this happy is when I got a Dyson vacuum. That's how you really know that you're an adult. That was oh my God. So now I have a closet.
When we got a Dyson, it was a game changer.
Game changer. Especially now that I have a cat. It's I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have it. And so now that I have a closet, I'm oh my God, I'm a real adult and everything. And that's when I just lost my thoughts. And I have no idea where I was going with that. So that's how it works. Speaking of what we were just talking about.
Yes. This is what I love. Oh my goodness.
No, but that's literally I don't know where we were
during the break, my physical power went out. It seems like Sheldon's internal system just decided to shut down.
Well,
and just take function down to 50%.
If you heard my monologue that I was giving to the audience,
right?
I was talking about how exhausted I am. Right. And how I'm barely functioning. So I think that is definitely a testament to that. I'm literally crying.
Yeah, function has depleted down to 50%.
Yeah,
it's been a long week. It's been a long day.
It's been a long few weeks. But that's the thing is even though I'm working up to 60 hours a week and everything, I still I have to let myself get at least 6 hours of sleep. I feel like you don't sleep.
You don't get more than that?
I try, I mean, I track it on my Apple Watch and everything. So I try to go to bed kind of earlier now. So I will be in bed for 9 hours, but I'm only really getting 6 hours and 48 minutes.
Oh, you feel like I don't sleep? Oh, I definitely don't. I definitely miss out on some sleep, but I try to be in bed most nights by 12, if not by 12:30 the latest. But then sometimes I'll linger in bed till like close to 1.
But you have kids, don't they wake up early?
Yeah, very early.
So,
and
like,
oftentimes, every night, they wake up multiple times in the middle of the night. So it's never a consistent sleep.
I never get consistent sleep because
Right,
I literally,
that's the problem.
I have a queen size bed and by myself, and I literally have my dog on my left and my cat on my right, and then I'm just like in the middle like this. And then in the middle of the night, if I turn or anything, then my cat gets all excited, so she's all over me. So then my dog gets very jealous, and then he's all over me, and I'm just like, people, like, I just need to sleep. And this happens like numerous times. Plus, my dog, Mr. Fatso, Mr. Milo, he won't jump on my bed anymore because I have the cat on it. So he will bark by my bed and make me get up to lift him up and put him onto the bed every time now. So
that was like a territory thing.
Because he tries jumping on it, so then she goes in front of it, and like every time
she blocks him from like getting on.
Yeah,
I thought it was like he was jealous that she was there, and so he wanted you to like.
No, he needs to be in my bed. He needs to be on top of me at all times, and then she gets like that as she's over there.
Right.
Like she's a crazy one. That
is she
one.
on top of the thing?
Yeah. I got a whole other closet situation. She's out of her damn mind. This girl. Did you see her? She's like going for the light. Like,
oh yeah, now I
go
see
for
her.
that. Yeah.
That's
sorry
crazy.
for all the stuff I have behind me. I just got these closets put in, so I'm still reorganizing.
Right.
My apartment was a mess. That's also why I couldn't film last Tuesday. My apartment was a freaking disaster because I had everything pulled out and I had to get rid of like the closet and dressers I already had.
But I feel like it's nice that there must be like a feeling of relief knowing that like, you know, like thank God like you own a place in Israel, but when you're like renting a place where you have to move, especially me, because knowing we hope to move to Israel relatively soon.
But, like,
I just constantly think about having to pack up everything and move it, and there is like nothing that gives me more anxiety than having to pack and put all my stuff, especially like my books and my monitor and all the little things, and putting it in boxes, labeling it, and then it's extremely expensive to pay for movers. So. Insanely expensive.
Literally, and I'm just one person, and I'm not like a hoarder or anything, and like I have so much stuff, so I can't imagine like a whole family and everything. And I feel like when I first moved to Israel, like I had to pack up all my stuff. I had to send some stuff on a lift. I had to pack a bunch of stuff that I was bringing. Like it was super stressful. Picked up my whole life, and then when I first landed in Israel, I stayed at our parents' house until I got my own apartment and everything. So then my stuff was sent there, and I had to bring all my stuff there. And then I got an apartment, so I had to move my stuff there. And then I moved to a new apartment, and then I got this one. So, like, it was so much moving. And, like, when I moved to this apartment, it was the first time I hired movers. I always, like, did it with myself or with friends. And it was a game changer having people, like there were certain things I wanted to pack up myself because I'm just OCD. But, like, having them, like, do everything for me, it was, like, so much better. But it's still so stressful, and I still have to, like, go through everything. And, you know, but, and I'm just one person, so like doing it with the whole family.
Right. When we moved out of the apartment, after we spent a year in Israel after we got married, and then we moved back here. We were in that apartment in Queens. When we left, we had like 100 boxes, which is not a lot. Like at the time, I thought I was only going to have like 50, 60. The guy shows up with this truck that was way too small. That was a disaster. But I had like 100, not huge, but medium-sized boxes. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you know, thank God you're able to move into a bigger space, but then you inevitably start amassing more things. And then comes moving time, and I'm thinking to myself, we're probably going to have like 200 boxes. And I can't even imagine, first of all, moving all that, but you got to get movers. The first time we had to rent a U-Haul and load things up, Dad was there to help. Shout out, Dad. Thank you for coming through.
JB.
It was a massive help. But yeah, moving is
tremendous.
Moving is a disaster. That's why it's just I want to find somewhere to just buckle down and
like
move.
My baseline is anxiety. So like adding moving into that mix, it's like I literally like when I was moving into Israel, there was one time because like also I like had it ended up being like when I went to like one of the chiropractors, I was seeing like a few, but I had like muscle spasms throughout my entire leg. But like one of the chiropractors I was seeing for a while, I thought it was like sciatica, and like I was in like excruciating pain, like I didn't know what it like I felt like I finally knew what it meant to actually like become like crippled overnight. Like I literally was like it was like immobilizing. Like my roommate, luckily I had a roommate that had to like lift me out of bed. It took me like 5 minutes. It was so excruciatingly painful and everything. Sorry,
where were you? This is when you were in New York?
Yeah, while I was moving everything. So like then my bed was sent to the lift. So then this all happens. I'm literally on this blow up mattress thing that I got from Bed Bath and Beyond, which every time I just think of Family Guy with the Beyond part, as I just like show like guys, I'm practicing for my next bar mitzvah. So basically I was like, it was like a lot of stress, I guess. So like it took my entire life because there was a lot of like things to pick up my whole life and everything, and like getting everything organized. And you have to do a lot of paperwork and interviews and this and that. And it's like organizing everything and saying your goodbyes to everyone. And it's like, it's a lot to do. So I was like literally like in such pain. And then one day, like, I was like dealing with all this stuff and like, I had like these orthotics I had to get in, and the doctor sent them, but he didn't cut them, and it happens, and like I was in so much pain, I had to cut them myself, and like it was just like a really stressful day, and it was like I had a panic attack. It was like the second time in my entire life I ever had a panic attack, and I like literally thought I was dying, and
We're just like heart like palpitations, breathing.
And I super nauseous. I felt like I was gonna die. Like I had to get on the floor. I felt like I was getting like I was like so dizzy and nauseous. I like felt like I was gonna throw up. I just felt like I was dying. It's the worst.
That's crazy.
And
it sounds terrible.
Horrible. And I was like, it was horrible. And so yeah. But thank God I never had anything like that since. But like, I'm here now, but I'm like, that's why like some people, when they move back to America from here, I'm like, how the hell are you doing all of that all over again? Like I could die. Just the thought of it.
Right.
Like leave me stranded even if I didn't like it.
But I thought when you take a lift, or when you send something on a container overseas, generally the company they send people to pack up things for you because otherwise they're liable insurance wise.
Liability and also security. They have to know what they're packing, and there's also certain items like motorcycles, motorbikes, e-bikes, e-scooters, grills. There's like certain things on a list that are taxed because like when you make Aliyah, when you immigrate to Israel, through the whole process, you get like 2 lifts. Not that the lifts are free, but you get to send 2 lifts and they're tax free. But there are certain things that are exceptions. So they have to know what's going on.
Grills and motorcycles.
Yeah. Grills like in the teeth grills, not like the grills, George Foreman grills. I'm just kidding. Do they still have George Foreman grills? Are those still a
Probably.
thing? Like those are like the thing back in the days. Like if you had a George Foreman grill when you were in high school, like or yeshiva as I went to when I was sent away to boarding school. And we weren't even allowed to have grills. I had to sneak in a friggin' grill.
Grill.
Mm-hmm.
Grill. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind packing up to know that I'm going to be somewhere permanently, but it's definitely not something that I'm trying to do. I can't do the constant up and about, moving around. Too much. It's too much. Way too much.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. That's how like when I moved into this apartment, I was like, I'm going to be here for like a while.
Right.
Because I'm no interest. Like, yeah, no, thank God. Like this apartment really worked out really well. I love my area. And it's super cute.
That's something we're trying to figure out now. I know because people were asking about us moving to Israel. Part of that discussion is us trying to figure out now where to live. And that's one of the things that I find, one of the few things I think is more difficult in Israel is that it seems that communities and neighborhoods are a little bit more separated than they are here in terms of like different levels of religiosity,
so funny
ideological or political beliefs. It's a little bit, I don't know. I don't like it, but it's hard.
I feel like it's so much worse in America, but I feel like in the certain neighborhoods here, which are the ultra areas, then because in Tel Aviv, it's just so not like that. We're like kind of like in our own bubble. Right, but it's sad because in the more religious neighborhoods, that's where there is all that separation.
Right.
It's like, the hell is that? Right. It's ridiculous.
Right.
It's like, and especially when you're in Israel, it's supposed to be the Jewish land. It's like supposed to bring you people together. Like something is not adding up.
Right, and there's obviously the inevitable culture shock and differences, but I think at this point, like I said last time, we're both we definitely want to be there. and it's that's the goal.
Yeah, but it's funny because, like, you know, like I've said before, like, it's like if you would have asked me, like, you know, 10, 11 years ago, like, if I would have ever moved to Israel, we used to come all the time. I would have been like, no. And now I've been here. This August is 7 years. I'm like, crazy. Oh my God, crazy. Like, when I turned 30, I didn't realize. I was like, oh my God, like, I spent most of my 20s living in Israel. Like, since I was 24 when I moved here. I'm like, that's insane. And now
I want to say that you've been missing out here, but you really haven't been missing out on much here. It's been kind of
literally.
Just
I would like sit back, just like watching the news, eating popcorn, like. Right. Glad I love that country.
That's what I always think. If there are aliens out there, that's probably what they're doing. Just kind of watching us from afar, laughing. Like, what are these people doing?
Totally. Well, those are the astronauts jetting off now in SpaceX. So their launch is delayed?
No, so I mentioned that before. I saw last night NASA. I think it was NASA and SpaceX did a launch to the International Space Station. So they had a live stream, but it wasn't until like 2 a.m. or something. I want to see what happened. I'm assuming they launched. I didn't check when I woke up.
No, it was postponed.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it was called off. Oh, called off at last minute.
Yeah.
It was crazy because I was watching them. I mean, there's a picture. You could see the pictures and videos, but you could see them like in there getting ready to go, and I just can't. Like, I'm getting like a little bit panicky watching that.
Forget that there are literally Russian cosmonauts, as they call them, stuck in the space station there that they just sent something 4 or 5 days ago as a rescue mission to get them. They've been stuck there.
What do you mean?
So, like,
wait, stuck where?
In space.
Hold on, they're in
the space station.
Oh, they're on the International Space Station?
I don't know if it's. I mean, let me double check.
Russian cosmonaut.
The first thing.
Why did you call them cosmonauts? Who says cosmonaut? Isn't it just
they said that on the news. They said something about like Russian cosmonauts and American astronauts, and I'm like, what the heck is the difference? I have no idea what the heck that is.
What's the difference between a cosmonaut and an astronaut? Is there a difference?
I have no idea. I mean, I could be looking this up, but I have no idea.
Oh yeah, those Soviet and later Russian individuals who travel in space are known as cosmonauts. Interesting.
Yeah, because they have to be different. I guess
there was a rescue mission. Ukraine, unmanned rescue ship for NASA astronaut, 2 cosmonauts after spacecraft leaked. That's what it is.
Hate those leaky spacecrafts.
No, so that must be horrifying. I mean, when you see them doing spacewalks and you can see the Earth, that must be the most.
I mean, it's obviously a green screen because the Earth is flat.
Right, but that's got to be one of the most incredible things to experience. It's to take in the Earth from space and like just look up and it's blackness. Just
like blackness is not like just like the color black. Like it's literally like a void.
And they're not really in deep space. They're in orbit of Earth.
And it's frightening. Like there's no gravity. If God forbid you got like detached or something, I don't know. Maybe I'm watching that movie that Sandra Bullock was in, where she's like, flying backwards and stuff. Like that is the most frightening thing ever. Even these Russian cosmonauts, whatever they are, strange there. Sorry if I'm getting their pronouns wrong. I feel like, what if they run out of food or like their pee bags or whatever they.
Wait, no, it seems like there was just there's a leak. It seems like there's a leak. Something
that they couldn't use their thing, right? But Kiva, they're not coming back until September.
Oh, it was exposing them to excessive heat while damaging computers and other equipment. It's
they're literally not scheduled to arrive back till like September.
It will return to Earth without the crew next month to allow engineers to examine it. Well, yeah, they're going to go to the International Space Station. They're going to stay on the International Space Station.
Which, like, why the hell it's international, but like, why the hell do we want them on there? I mean, they're not maybe them bad themselves.
A bunch of different countries meet on there. A bunch of different countries.
But not ones that are literally currently invading Ukraine.
Yeah, but those astronauts, they're just Russian.
Cosmonauts, Kiva, use the proper pronouns.
Right. The Russian cosmonauts they're not Vladimir Putin, they're just cosmonauts trying to go into space and do
trying to be all cosmic and everything.
Trying to do cosmonauty things. Cosmonauting
the
around.
Illuminati. The Illuminati,
Right.
the Cosmonati.
The Cosmonauts. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, at the end of the day, like you have to. The people are not the leadership, and a lot of us, unfortunately, are stuck under bad leadership.
Right. It's like everyone assumed we were all Trump, and it's like, no, that's not us. There was only like 72 million voters.
Right. I think there was a tennis player who someone was holding up a sign about. Okay, sorry. I just had to run to take care of something real quick. What were you saying now?
Were you in contact with the cosmonauts?
Oh yeah, we were in contact with the cosmonauts. No, but yeah, it's got to be. It's at the. Oh,
It's
I was talking about. I saw a Russian.
I'm laughing,
player.
but it's because I'm like frightened because it's like
Right.
it's literally like it is literally the thing that is most terrifying, and it's like they were literally stuck. Like that is like that's the thing is like they're trying to make it sound like oh yeah you know Virgin what's his name I can't think of his name right now the guy who owns Virgin like
Richard Branson.
Thank you and him and Elon Musk and John Bezos and
Jeff Bezos.
Guys, I am exhausted.
You heard it here first, folks. John Bezos will be offering the keynote speech at the Azamon convention in 2023.
It's like when Trump called Tim Cook, Tim Apple. Thank you, Tim Apple.
Oh my goodness.
John Bezos is his alter ego. I know him personally, guys. Gosh, I'm not lying when I said I'm exhausted. So Jeff Bezos, all these people, they're trying to make it seem like, oh yeah, it's gonna come to the consumer market, like buy your tickets, like come visit space. And it's like, they only go like to right outside of it and everything. It's like it is not refined enough. It's like when airplanes were first invented, right? Like when airplanes were first invented, and like this is way more dense. Like were not so safe. Like they had to discover those issues. Like one of my favorite shows, shout out to Discovery Network for air crash investigation, because it's literally one of my shows. I literally will watch it before a flight. I literally was going to watch it while I was on a flight, and then I look around me. I'm like, okay, probably not a good idea. People around me would be like bugging the fuck out. But like literally one of my favorite shows, and it's like people are like, "But how do you watch that?" And it's like the thing is, it's like so interesting, and every episode is so different and unique in these certain circumstances, and like we've learned so much like from all of these different things that it's horrible, and the people who died and their families, it's horrible and inexplainable, but at least from this,
I mean, it's explainable, but. Their grief is terrible. Yeah. They died in a plane crash.
I said unexplainable, not explainable. It's explainable. Bitches, it's explainable. They crashed.
Oh my gosh.
And that's how Sheldon got canceled. It's like How I Met Your Mother, how Sheldon got canceled.
No, you're saying that we've been able to fix the airplane to get them up to a certain place of safety because
we've learned so much about aerodynamics, like how the littlest, like 1 or 2 centimeters of ice on a wing could throw off, like the airflow completely and really cause issues. Like we've
Can't
learned
throw off that
so
airflow.
many things. Don't want to be flowing that airflow off.
Right.
But like we've come so far. Technology has only improved. So like, it's like, Indeed. It's kind of like a silver lining, but like, these things are tragic, but it's like, but at least from this tragedy, we were able to move forward. Unlike the school shootings in America, because gun control hasn't moved anywhere. Shout out.
Well, on that beautiful note, I think we're going to call it here. I do want to say, although we've been a little bit off, hopefully we'll be getting back into routine and moving forward.
Today, I'm just a little bit off.
Right. Hopefully we'll get you back in shape, working at maximum efficiency.
You have to recharge.
You have to recharge, get plugged in. And hopefully we won't have any power outages. But until then, and until next week.
No, hold on. We did not get any power outages because me and Tel Aviv.
But until then.
Flawless power.
And until next week, wishing everyone well. Hope everyone's doing good. Again, don't forget to comment and subscribe, like.
Don't forget
all those things.
You're missing your short-term memory.
Drop a question or a suggestion anywhere. You can send it to us personally or through Spotify or any of the other accounts on social media. Any questions you want to ask?
Could you drop a question on Spotify or any of the other things?
Yeah. There's a place to comment. Sure.
On Spotify, really? I use Apple.
Yeah,
Music.
I think there's a Q&A section, or maybe not. And if there's not, sorry.
Right.
We'll catch you all next week. Have a good one. And
take
care.
Bye.